A smiling Ramaphosa received a warm welcome from local residents, but a hostile reception from members of the economic freedom fighters.
Who lies on top of dollars? He has no right to address the people of Ukurichi.
His address disrupted. EFF members accused him of breaking the law over the Phala saga. When he eventually spoke, Ramaphosa bemoaned the poor state of some municipalities, but said his government was addressing the shortcomings.
People need to lead lives of quality and dignity. That is why we should welcome the new laws that we are putting in place, laws that are going to enhance accountability. Amongst others, the laws will disallow municipal officials from also holding political office. It defines competency criteria for appointments of municipal managers and strengthens the performance evaluation process.
The 4-day sitting laid bare the poor service delivery in the Ugu district municipality. Water provision is one of the main complaints, but residents also raised issues such as the poor state of roads, high crime levels, and ineffective law enforcement. Ramaphosa made the commitment that government ministers would return to address the concerns raised by the community. He says municipalities need to set measures in place to attract investment.
We cannot achieve higher economic growth, we cannot create more jobs, and we cannot grow more businesses if local government does not function well. We have a shared responsibility to promote investment in this district and in this province.
While acknowledging that African countries need to do more to manufacture their own products, he also encouraged South Africans to purchase goods manufactured locally and on the continent. Simphiwe Makhanya, SABC News, Port Shepstone.
Well, let's speak a little bit more with SABC Senior reporter Simphiwe Makhanya, who attended President Ramaphosa's address to mark the conclusion of that National Council of Provinces visit to KwaZulu-Natal. So, Simphiwe, let's just start at the obvious place. President Cyril Ramaphosa's closing address being disrupted there by the economic freedom fighters. Tell us exactly what happened.
Indeed, good evening to you and good evening to the viewers at home. Well, the week-long NCOP sitting in Port Shepstone was meant really to, put into sharp focus the issue of service delivery in that particular community of Ugu district. And basically, as I have indicated in the package which has been added, so the issue of water was raised sharply by community members there, saying that water cuts are having a severe impact on their day-to-day lives. And this issue, by the way, is an issue that has been ongoing in that particular part of the province. The former Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Simphiwe Makhanya, addressed that issue to say that Umngeni Water will be, embarking upon, a process of ensuring that these residents are provided with the issue of water. And of course, other issues include the issue of the poor state of the infrastructure that we have there in that part of the province, such as, the lack of roads, and in some instances, the issue of electricity was also raised sharply by community members. But coming back to your question about the reception that the president received from, the people who are attending this NCOP sitting, a very positive one that he received from ordinary South Africans. They were glad to see him. They were actually happy, some of them as he arrived, they basically, waved at him, but of course the problem started when he took to the podium, and then we saw the members of the economic freedom fighters basically disrupting the president, saying that they will not be addressed by a president who has broken the law quote-unquote, broken the law. They were referring, of course, to that Phala saga that is still, facing the President of the Republic, Tsepiso.
All right, Simphiwe, let's talk about, as you mentioned, some of the problems you spoke about, water, the infrastructure, police. Some of those who attended this week-long Taking Parliament to the People program also complained about crime. Take us through those particular issues, and we'll get to what the President said in just a moment about service delivery and how to deal with it.
Indeed, Tepi, so the issue of water was raised sharply by community members from the Ugu district who were taking part in this week-long sitting of the National Council of Provinces in Port Shepstone. But of course, that's not the only issue, Tepi. So, when we were engaging with various community members, they were mentioning things such as, the poor states of the roads that are there in that part of the province. They were also, highlighting, the issue of not really, receiving adequate services from their respective municipalities that are basically in that part of the province. And of course, the president did mention that one of the challenges that is facing the sphere of local government is the issue of proper skills. He's saying that this is basically hindering the delivery of basic services to many communities across the country, where you find that the municipality doesn't have the necessary skills, to actually see to it that it deals with the day-to-day, work that it needs to do. And of course, you hear that from the people who are, taking part in the deliberations this week, they were saying that even though there have been strides when it comes to perhaps the delivery of certain basic services such as electricity in that part of the province, but of course the issue of water remains a very critical issue, and they feel that it is high time that government intervenes decisively in addressing that particular issue.
All right, Simphiwe, the president is saying that people should stop focusing on diagnosing the problem. He said government should rather focus on what an ideal municipality should look like and how to build such municipalities across the country. So I hear you talk about skills, but I'm wondering, any concrete suggestions that were made about what would be the ideal local municipality in terms of being run efficiently for the Ugu area?
What the president was saying, Tepiso, was that government is now going to be introducing laws that are going to ensure that, in those especially critical areas, within the municipalities, proper people are employed there with proper skills who will be able to carry out the responsibility, that they've been tasked with. And of course, the president did mention, so the fact that, when you talk about the issue of attracting investment, often people think that that type of, intervention will come from the national government and so on. But the president was at pains saying that if, this very critical sphere of government, which is the local government sphere, is not performing adequately, that issue of attracting investment and also dealing with the issue of unemployment and economic growth is not going to be seen. That is why therefore the government needs to pay particular attention to ensuring that the issue of local government and the challenges that face local government are indeed resolved.
SABC Senior reporter Simphiwe Makhanya, who was there when President Cyril Ramaphosa addressed the end of that NCOP meeting in KwaZulu-Natal in Ugu.